So now we're going to be taking some notes on the possessive adjectives, les adjectifs possessifs. So we've got our guided notes sheet here, and you're going to notice that I've done a little bit of editing here where I've combined these boxes. If you remember from that slideshow, you remember why. So in general, we want to come up with a rule that kind of encompasses possessive adjectives. So we've got the general idea that possessive adjectives show ownership. And this is like in English, my, your, his, her, our, or their. So that is the general idea about possessive adjectives, that these show ownership. Like in English, we would say like my house, a house that belongs to me. Your sister, a sister that belongs to you. His dog, her cat, an animal that belongs to that person. So what's different in English, we use my to describe it to be my sister, my friends. In French, because this is an adjective, a possessive adjective, remember that these have to match the gender and number of the thing that's owned. So I'm going to put that right down here, that they must agree in gender and number with the possession. So the thing that's owned, we're going to look at the thing you own to decide the gender and number. And because this was like a really huge table, we are going to split it up. We're going to look at singular objects you could own. So this is the singular, this is the object owned. We're going to break it down between a masculine singular object that you can own or a feminine singular object that you can own. So, I'll use a marker here just to make this stick out a little bit more. So we've got our masculine, and what we have down the side here is we have who owns it. So we've got those pronouns. So je, I. So I own this singular masculine thing, and when that happens, it's going to be mon. So my singular masculine thing. So thinking about something masculine from our vocabulary, you could say something like, I'll do some example sentences here in purple just for fun. I could say, il est mon frère. He is my brother. Now, if something is feminine, in general, I'm going to use ma. And that's easy to remember because feminine things can have the article la, so that's pretty helpful. So ma. So I might say, elle est ma sœur. She is my sister. And you might remember something a little bit about this, but I'm going to wait a second to give the note until we have these three down. And so now that we're moving on to the owner being tu, like you own that thing, we have ton, T-O-N. Let me tilt this so that I don't just keep coming out of frame for you. All right, that should be helpful. So, and we can also have ta. You could say, il est ton frère, he is your brother. Elle est ta sœur, she is your sister. Then we have son for his or her, or when we're using the pronoun on to mean people in general or we. And then sa for the feminine. So one important note, and I am going to add a little asterisk here. And I'm going to put this note that when a feminine thing starts with a vowel, you have to use mon. So I'm going to say except with vowels. And we'll see that a little bit more when we talk about that liaison. And I'm sure you've noticed here, I've combined it so for nous, if it's masculine or feminine, they share a box. This is notre. So I would say ours, because it goes with nous. Nous is the owner. We are the owner. So it's ours. So I could say, il est notre frère. He is our brother. I could say, elle est notre sœur. She is our sister. So it doesn't matter if that object you own is masculine or feminine. We're using nous, vous, or il or elle plural for that owner. It's always going to look the same. And so we've got votre here and leur. And I do want to get some examples on notre, some example sentences, just so that you can see that it doesn't matter if you're talking about a masculine object that you own or a feminine object that you own. You're going to use the same possessive adjective. So I might say, il est notre frère, and elle est notre sœur. He is our brother. She is our sister. So we've got those singular objects, and now we're going to move on to our plural objects you own. So you can own more than one thing, like in English, my friends, your dogs, our sisters. So here we have those plural objects owned. So reminding us it's not the owner that's plural, it is the object that's owned that is plural, like our dogs, your houses. So you can see here, it doesn't matter if an object is masculine or feminine. So I got rid of those kind of lines that separate here. It's going to stay the same. So if your object is plural and it belongs to I, it belongs to me, where I would say je for my pronoun, it's mes. They are mine. So mes maisons, my houses. Mes chiens, my dogs. So I might say Marc et Laurie sont mes parents. So they are my parents. You can see parents is plural, so you're going to use mes. We have, if it belongs to you, singular, one person, you'll say tes. You'll say tes. So you could say Marc et Laurie sont tes parents. They are your parents. For il, elle, and on, it would be ses. For no, nous, if it belongs to us, it's nos. For vous, it is vos. And il and elle plural, it's leur. And you have the S there. Show that it's plural. So you can see that all of these possessive adjectives have an S at the end because the thing you own is plural. And because these are adjectives, they have to match that object owned in gender and number. So now we're going to write a little rule about the liaison. And we remember liaison is a way we pronounce things that makes French get that nice, buttery, smooth sound. So our rule is when the object you own, when that word starts with a vowel, we need to do something special. So when the object owned starts with a vowel, you only use the mon, son, ton. You would never use ma, sa, or ta. And that is something that we had gone over before. So, for example, if you have ami, feminine. We had seen this in our slideshow. We know that is a single person, so I'm going to use mon or ma, and it's feminine. So we could really, really want to use ma here, right? And I'll write it in pencil to show you why it doesn't work. Ma ami. You hear that hiccuping sound. We don't want that. We want the liaison. We want that smooth, buttery sound. So it can't be ma ami. It must be mon ami. Oh, and this leaves a really ugly eraser mark. Yikes. That's okay. We'll cover it up with marker. So it's going to be mon ami. And what the liaison does, we've seen this before, where that last consonant that's silent in mon travels over to start the word ami. So it's not mon ami, because that's still got the hiccuping. It's mon ami. The same for the word école, which we know is feminine. It's not ton école, it's not ta école, it's ton école. And we see this liaison also works with anything that starts with a vowel in the plural. So let's go down just a little bit. So let's see some examples here. You might have or we'll stick with these two examples because we've seen these words already. You know this is pronounced te, and that's ami, but we're not going to say te ami. It's got the hiccuping. So it should sound like, and let's play Dora the Explorer here. How do you think mes amis should be pronounced? Right, it's mes amis. That Z sound is going to travel over. It's mes amis. So instead of te école, this would sound like, good, it's tes amis. And I know none of you repeated or did the Dora the Explorer thing. I had fun with it. So, it's important to know that when your object starts with a vowel, and we're going to add in a little bit because I don't think this is a very good description. When the object starts with a vowel, we'll add a little bit in here. And the object owned, the object is owned by je, tu, or il, elle, on. So if it's my, your, his, or hers, that's when you're going to use mon, son, and ton. You cannot use ma, sa, or ta. But you are allowed to use notre ami. You are allowed to say votre ami. All right. So those are your guided notes.